Evening, everyone. We're going to wait a few more minutes to get going. I can see people coming in still, but it won't be long. Jordan, I'm going to jump off for a second. Can you unmute me when I come back, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think I'm going to get going now. It's just gone 3 minutes past when we should have started. So welcome everyone to the Roosevelt Island Committee of Community Board 8. I'm delighted to have you join us here for our first meeting after the summer. We have a good meeting tonight, a full agenda of two big meaty subjects. Before we go to those, we have no REOC update. I'm going to see if Kate's with us for the library update. Kate, do you have something you want to share?
Paul, if you don't mind, I'm going to just share the rules of the road since we have a bunch of people in here.
Thank you, Jordan.
Welcome. If this is your first time joining us virtually, you will notice that you are currently muted and everyone will remain muted throughout the meeting except the committee chair, Paul, and any presenters as we move through the agenda. As we move through the agenda, the chair will call on members of the public wishing to speak. You can participate by pressing the raise hand button on the bottom of your screen, not the wave or thumbs up, as those will disappear. Only press it once. If you press it a second time, your hand will go back down. If you're calling in on the phone, it is *+9 to raise your hand and *+6 to unmute. Be on the lookout for a prompt asking you to confirm unmuting once the co-chair or the chair calls on you. The chat is available for technical support only to help with Zoom software problems, not to ask questions of the chair. They will not see the chats. If you're using an older version of Zoom, you may need to find the React menu, Participants menu, or the button that says More, where you will find the raise hand feature in one of those. If you plan to speak during the meeting, it would help us if you would rename your device with your full first and last name. Please do not raise your actual hand or wave at the screen because we may not be able to hear you. Chat me, I'm here for support.
Thank you, Jordan. So, Kate, anything for us today?
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for hosting this meeting. I'm Kate. I am the New York Public Library Roosevelt Island branch manager. I just wanted to share a couple of updates with you as this fall is kicking off. I can't believe we're already in October. So a couple of things of note. This week is Banned Books Week. We are celebrating at the library with a Post-it note support banned books thing on one of our pillars on the main floor. On top of that, we are also hosting a poster making workshop with Poster House Museum this Friday at 1 o'clock. It is for adults primarily, but if there are some teenagers that want to come in, they would be more than welcome. On top of that, we have Escape the Library later this month in October. It's going to be an escape room game time specific for adults, and registration is required for that event. Feel free to call us or visit us online to register your spot. And then with kids programming, I'm just going to shout out that after school is in full swing as of now. We are in our second week, believe it or not, and that is happening Monday through Thursday, 2:45 to 5:45. If you have any kids or know any kids between the ages of 6 and 12 who need homework help, and we have a new YA librarian on staff. She'll be throwing on some programs starting this fall, and I'm very excited to see what she does here. That's everything from the library. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, Kate. Thanks again for our wonderful library. So our next item is community update. Anybody here on the Zoom want to inform the rest of us about any events coming up in our community that we should know about? I see a hand up from Craig. Let's see what Craig has to say.
I wanted to get on the new business.
Oh,
So
so
I'll
we'll
lower
come
my
later.
hand for now, and I'm going to lower my hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Anybody have anything else they want to share? So we're going to change the order now. We're going to actually bring forward the number 5 item, Mr. BJ Jones, the president and CEO of REOC, who's very kindly agreed to come here and spend time with us. He is the reason for changing is he has a deadline at 7:30, but also I didn't want to rush the FM discussion about the switching of the F&M trains. I want to give that proper consideration. So we're going to start with BJ Jones. To do that, first of all, welcome, BJ. Thank you very much for coming and speaking with us. I'm going to hand it over to Jimmy Storacci, who'll take over from here and share some of the questions we've been sent by you all.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for being here. What we did was we decided to sort of canvass the community and give them an opportunity to put questions to you before the meeting so that I could read them and you can give an answer.
Okay.
And of course, when there is a Q&A session, anybody's welcome to go back to that topic if that topic should interest them and they didn't hear enough from you on that topic, or if there's something I missed when I asked the question. So I'm going to be quick because I know we have a time restriction. I'm going to ask, let's see, the first one I'm going to ask is one that I sent in, so I take full responsibility for that.
Okay.
Can we repurpose the old trams under Motorgate? Now, I sent it in a little bit of a different, originally a different wording, but can we repurpose the old trams under Motorgate to be used for visitors and locals to enjoy rather than leaving them there to rot underneath the garage? Let's say one could be placed on one side of the island and one on the other, either north-south or some other strategic placement. And that maybe somebody could come in and use them. Maybe they could be in the summertime or in the warmer months, an ice cream cart could be brought in and people can enter and they can buy ice cream from an ice cream cart so that no infrastructure has to be placed into the trams. So this is just to give you one example. So that was one question.
Yeah. A short answer to that, I think that's a great idea, and I'd love to explore that further. I think, they could be an interesting draw for the community and also to get people further up and, into Main Street to help out the small businesses too. So, would welcome additional ideas from this group and beyond on where good places for them might be and what good uses for them might be. I like that idea.
How would we promote getting that discussion started?
I I think that, well, I want to learn a little bit more about, the condition of those trams and get, our facts in order on kind of what would be involved given their condition to refurbish them. So we have that information. So, just to help with kind of the conversation being productive from a planning perspective, but, maybe we could get a, maybe we could, figure out a way to solicit ideas from this group. I don't know, do a survey
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm
of
happy to
sorts
hear that.
for ideas, and then we can think about, who might be a good group just to get together and, think about next steps based on the ideation that we'll get going. I'm open to other ways to think through that as well, but that's an initial way that comes to mind.
I'll start brainstorming with Paul in the next couple
Okay.
of weeks. Okay, the next question. It's rather long, so
Okay.
bear with me. Are there any
Okay.
updates on the master lease renewal? What is the projected date year of the master lease renewal? We are a family with a toddler who moved to Roosevelt Island after hearing from friends and colleagues about its family-friendly atmosphere and open spaces for children. Since moving here, we've met many other families who've come for the same reason, to raise their kids in a safe, community-oriented environment. However, we've been surprised to find, actually, let me pause there and let's stop with the lease renewal questions.
Yeah.
Are there any updates on the master lease renewal? What is the projected date year of the master lease renewal?
So I'm, and I guess this will color many of my answers. I'm a few weeks in, but I do know that, conversations have been going on between the city and the state on this topic. It's a very important issue that needs to be addressed as soon as possible. I've just recently joined in those conversations to, emphasize the importance of there being a resolution. At this stage, I don't know what the time frame is, other than I know that the parties all of the parties involved recognize that this is becoming more and more pressing, and so the desire is to come to resolution as soon as possible.
Great. Now, at the back of that same questioning, we shifted from where we were with the lease renewal, but this person also asked that you might find this one sort of flattering, actually. However, we've been surprised to find that playgrounds for babies and toddlers on the island are far less functional, engaging, and developmentally appropriate compared to those in nearby areas like Battery Park City or Long Island City. For example, the main equipment at Blackwell Playground, often considered the most suitable for the younger kids, is labeled 5 to 12, which makes it unsuitable or unsafe for the toddlers. Families here pay substantial city taxes and high condo or co-op fees. Many of us choose to live on Roosevelt Island precisely so we can spend quality time outdoors with our children without having to go outside Roosevelt Island. We'd love to see a modern, age-appropriate playground built for ages 1 through 3, something on par with Battery Playscape or Hunters Point South Playground, for example, that reflects the same care and investment in child development that other New York City neighborhoods really enjoy.
That's great. This is a good example of why I think sessions like this are valuable, and hearing from stakeholders. That's, I've heard a lot in the few weeks that I've been here, and that is one that I have not encountered until now. And yeah, I think, playgrounds, equipment for all ages is absolutely the right thing to do, and for toddlers is the right thing to do. So thank you to whomever surfaced that for bringing it to our attention, and I'm excited to look into that. And I think, yeah, and so yeah, we'll definitely look into that and think about where something like that could be, and what it would be, and what it would look like. But I think that's a great idea.
Great. When will Riva be able to operate rent-free, as it should, since it provides countless free services and opportunities for residents and is a vital organization on the island?
So that one, I've been to the Riva Gallery and have really enjoyed it. In fact, just stopped, just passed it and stopped by briefly this afternoon. That's an issue that I'm definitely not familiar with the rental terms there. So Margie knows this from another meeting. I'm writing these things down in my notebook, and I'll flag that one for follow-up, and I'll learn more as soon as I can. And in my conversations with that organization, I'll learn more too. So I'll look into it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans for cleaning the area between Motorgate Garage and the Helix? The area is covered in vast amounts of pigeon manure. That's where the trams are as well. So I guess the whole area could use a revamping.
Yeah. And this is something, Paul, you had raised this too when we met a few days ago, is that that is an area that would, benefit, certainly, cleaning it and maintaining that area, and the rest of the neighborhood is very important. So yeah, I'm all for cleaning that area up, but also think that it is ripe for some reimagining in a way that would help, with the vibrancy of that area. So definitely interested in turning some attention towards what's possible there and making better use of that space.
Are there new plans for affordable housing on Roosevelt Island? Could the decommissioned Roosevelt Island steam plant site, which is slated for demolition in the future, be considered for such development? Also, I strongly believe REAC should prioritize hiring more staff who actually live within the community and understand its issues, challenges, and residents' needs. There are plenty of residents who would be eager to work for REAC and serve as public servants to help improve our neighborhood.
Okay. 2 issues. Sorry, I'm just writing them down so I don't forget. On the affordable housing question, I definitely think it's important for us to take a hard look at that, given the housing affordability crisis in the city. There, have been some conversations around the steam plant site as an example of that. And, maybe there's other opportunities. I'm not sure yet on the island, but, generally speaking, I'm a fan of affordable housing, and I think more housing is a good thing for the city. I think in doing that, we need to just be sensitive to what flows from that. So, housing and affordable housing is a good thing for the community, but then we need to think about the impact on our infrastructure and transportation and services and what have you. And so just making sure that all of that is taken into consideration. So we're doing it in as thoughtful a manner as possible.
Thank you. Are there any plans to fix and reopen the 2 western piers on the Western Channel, they mean?
Yes. So I assume that means Eleanor's Pier and the Prow.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm aware of that, and I would really like to kick both of those projects into higher gear. And so I'm definitely interested in working with the team and seeing how we might accelerate the repair work needed in both of those areas and get those open as soon as possible for people to enjoy. It seems like they've been closed, for too long. So hopefully we can make some better progress in that area. And I know, the team cares about it and getting those things done too. So I will be pushing on both fronts.
Excellent. Is there a proper timeline with the new dog park within the new Commons East area?
Yeah. Speaking of pushing, so we have been pushing. That's, right next door to where I am right now. And we've been working with Hudson and seeing, are there any governmental barriers that we can break down so that we can get the show on the road there, which I think we have now done, and contractors are back on the site and working on it. So I want to see that completed as soon as possible, definitely before the end of the year, and the sooner the better. And they are aware of it, and I've encouraged my team to be as annoying as they need to be, because it would be great to have that space open for people to enjoy before winter. So I would like it very much if we could get that open in the weeks to come, for sure.
Will the leak in one of the water sprinklers just between Kohler and the lighthouse be fixed? Not sure.
That's very specific. I will look into that.
Not sure what that one's referring to. I'm sorry.
No problem. I'm happy to get feedback, big and specific, but it sounds like if there's a broken
Sprinkler,
we'd want that to be repaired. So talk to the grounds team about it, and Brian's here too, so he'll also keep me honest on the follow through with the team. But I'm pro fixing sprinklers.
Someone has previously complained about the roadway by the school, IS 217. It's uneven. When it rains, there are huge puddles, which make it difficult getting into and out of your car. Most people that are handicapped with a placard park near the school. You can park there with a plaque for handicap parking. I don't know why they don't repave during the summer when school was closed. I use a walker, and it's bumpy when you push a walker and try to walk. Thank you for your time, and I wish you good luck in your new position. That was the full question.
Thank you. So I have to think about where that's located, but we've launched this roadway maintenance project to repair Main Street, and for reasons like that. And so that is also an important project that needs to happen. And once we finish design, getting a contractor on board to do that work, which I would like, to begin as soon as possible in 2026. And so, to the extent that's within the scope of that project, then we should be able to address it as part of that. And if for some reason it falls slightly out of that, that's certainly consistent with what we want to achieve and kind of doing our part to take care of the infrastructure, including the roads. And so we'll add that to the list in our capital plan if it needs some attention. So happy to look into that more, but also looking forward to the upcoming roadway project and having more information to share with you all about that.
Yeah, this one sort of piggybacks on that one also. Can we do something effective to actually enforce traffic stops at our stop signs? The LEDs are annoying and a waste of time and don't work. Cars blow through routinely. So there's a couple of other issues raised in that question, but I'm going to stop there and also add that I have spoken with Bryant number of times about the speed bumps, which I love. I found the speed bumps to be most effective, and he did explain to me back in the spring, I think it was, that they don't work well with the Z-bricks. The speed bumps do not adhere the way that they're implanted. I forget the reasoning for that, but I do remember that he did say that.
Yeah. Yeah, that does make some sense in terms of the complications with the Z-bricks. In terms of, that question generally, I would start kind of bigger picture and just say that pedestrian safety is very important. And so whether it's through roadway improvements we can make, lighting improvements, that we can make, or traffic enforcement, I'm very interested in, pursuing all of those strategies. And so, on the enforcement piece specifically, I'll talk to PSD about that and what we're doing, and see where maybe we could spend a little more time focusing on traffic infractions and where we could take some more action to improve safety for pedestrians and others who share the streets.
Can I jump in for a quick second, Jimmy?
Yeah.
There's one more thing I'd love you to add to your list on that point, BJ, please. Automatic enforcement of those stop signs. It happens in other parts of this nation. It seems to me an absolute no-brainer. I know it's probably immensely complicated because it's city and state and who gets the money and all that stuff. If we put aside the money part of it, like who gets the money, which would be great if we did. But the reason for doing it is if we had absolute enforcement of all those stop signs with cameras, people would get to know very quickly and it would work.
Got it. Yeah. So you mean like the automated cameras that track cars that run the stop sign or exceed the speed limit?
Yeah, there's a town somewhere in Long Island has it, and there's other places in this nation that have it as well. It's a technology that exists, so it's more about political will, but also then getting through bureaucracy to get it actually put in.
Okay.
We've spoken to a couple of people, but it's people find it too frightening to try and deal with it.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, I like a bureaucratic challenge, but I mean, certainly sounds consistent with what we've talked about and what I care about in terms of pedestrian safety. So we'll look into it and learn more about what's involved and the barriers that we'd have to overcome, whether it's jurisdictional or cost or what have you, but definitely worth exploring. I'm adding it to the list.
Your ever-growing list. Thank you. Sorry, Jimmy.
Yeah, no, that's great. My family's been here about 15 years, and it's remarkable the difference in the amount of vehicles for hire, let's put it that way, that are coming through the island in the evenings and at night. It is quite different. When we first moved here, we may have had a visitor, let's say, come by the by the train, and then it gets late. We had, people come over and say, all right, I'm going to go back downtown or uptown or wherever they're going. And they say, I just want to get a cab. And you'd say, the only way you're going to get one here, and this is only 15 years ago, would be to hope that somebody took one home. And, obviously technology is different. And so now we all watch these cars blow right through stop signs on a regular basis. So things have changed all around, not just here.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think, it's speeding, it's going through stop signs, it's, double parking violations and what have you. So, and, to your point, it's, with the Ubers of the world, people coming and driving through who aren't familiar with the island. And so, I think that's where some additional enforcement be more
I
into.
have one more. I think maybe one more, Paul, before we
Yeah.
open it up.
Sure.
Does that sound right? In
Yep.
time? Yeah. Okay. Roosevelt Island has many elderly and visually impaired residents who rely on walking paths and roads at night. Would REAC explore installing reflective or fluorescent road markings and crosswalks to enhance nighttime safety and accessibility, like actually make it glow in the dark?
We could have a lot of fun with that. I'm the first glow in the dark neighborhood. But in all seriousness, I think that that kind of, reflective material to help with visibility, which again sounds like it would be helpful to the visually impaired, but could also again be a safety strategy as well. Definitely worth looking into. That's another interesting new idea I've not heard. Yeah.
I also want to
I
just
like that
add at the end of a lot of these questions are well wishes for you. This one.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, this
Thank
one's
you.
very nice. Welcome to Roosevelt Island as our new REAC president. This community welcomes newness all around. Thank you for providing a space where questions and concerns may be addressed. It's much appreciated. Thought that was nice.
That is nice, and I will say that has been consistent across the board in my interactions here since I've arrived. So I really appreciate it.
Good to hear.
Thank you to whoever wrote that.
All right. Well, I think that sums it up for our write-in questions. Okay.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, want to make sure we have time for people to address some of the points raised.
Let's go for it. Craig had his hand up first.
Okay, here I am. Good. All right.
Okay.
So if I recall, within the last year, there were lots of complaints about the number of people on the trams at one time. And I noticed that, well, when I grew up, people had to fold their stroller. And for some reason, the city has gotten rid of that rule. But I'm wondering if on the tram, people could fold their stroller and hold their kid for 5 minutes. Or have their kids stand for 5 minutes and not take up the space with these double wides and these extra longs. And they're not little strollers anymore. They're like,
Right.
what's it called? Like a Rolls Royce of strollers that come on that thing. And nobody thinks twice about it or just doesn't seem to care. And they're always pushing to get on first. I don't care where they get on. It's just what your thoughts about that. And see if there's some way we could do a trial with folded strollers for a week and see if it helps people out or something like that.
What you're saying sounds reasonable. I'll look into it and see if there's any.
I know how when you start
unanticipated.
with that, they go crazy, but it's not that way. It's just they can obviously see they can fold it up and get 3 more people in.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That seems like good tram etiquette. And if we can, but that also, I don't know. I think some of that depends on, what's feasible also for the family and the child. And
I'm not saying make the law. I'm saying make this, maybe put a poster up to make a suggestion that they fold their strollers. That's it. Okay. Thank you. If you could look into that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Right. Bye-bye.
Let's move on to CSAT. If you wouldn't mind giving us your name, please, CSAT.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes. Yep. What's your
Hi. So my name is Chris Satch. I'm a local business owner and island resident.
Okay.
I have more suggestions and requests than I do
Great.
questions, but I don't know how many I'm allowed. It looks like there's a line of
Let's do 60 seconds, please.
Okay. With regards to the stop signs, we already have like 50 million blinkers and the bumpers and the tire strippers and everything. There's no more passive work that we can do. It needs to be enforced. These drivers don't care. these Uber drivers, these whatever, they just don't care. So that's suggestion one. And it's embarrassing because it's right in front of the police station. So they enforce the cars being insane. So that's point one. The other one is the land lease. I want to double click on that because as a homeowner here, I am very concerned. There are billions of dollars worth of property value that's at stake. And, you know, that is a top concern of mine as well. And then the last two are really quick, just request suggestions. One of the reasons why my partner and I moved to the island was because we really liked the brick. So if you can keep the brick, yay. We love the brick road. And then the last thing, which is just a humble request, is for the garden department or the parks department, can they plant more native trees or native bushes? There's a lot of like the ginkgos. I know they're really resilient. They have the weird smelly ginkgo nuts. It would be nice if they don't have to cut anything down or anything, but when they do plant a new tree, plant a native like a hemlock or a chestnut or an elm or something like that that is a little more. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Nice
Thank you.
point. Thank you so much. Margie, please.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, thanks for doing this. Thanks very much. The old days, we had town hall meetings in the church, and it was great. It was mobbed. Love to see one of those again.
Okay.
On the tram cabin issue, I just want to be sure you include Riva because we've got a ton of ideas for the tram cabins and also for the old wheels. We have a mock-up of a sculpture kind of with those wheels coming down the escalators would be fabulous. I know we originally started talking about that, and there was something with lead paint in them or something that caused a lot to get rid of, but I don't know where that is. But I actually did write in a question that I guess somehow fell through the cracks. And it does have to do with it has to do with parking on the island. Many moons ago, back when I was on the board, we hooked up with a company in San Francisco that put little sensors in each parking space on the island. So when you were coming up Vernon, ready to come onto the island, you could see where the available parking was. And you knew whether to turn into Motorgate or just go all the way down and try to find something. I would love to see that come back again. And there are companies that do that. And this was supposed to get connected to the parking meter, where if you then were up in somebody's apartment, knew your meter was running out, take out your phone on the app, add more money to it. So I would love to see something like that come back again. I had some friends coming over this week and totally forgot what a pain in the neck it was to try to figure out how to park. So
when was that? When the sensors were installed?
I'm going to say 2010. They were like little discs that were in each space. They're gone now, but they're just tiny little things. When the car pulls in, the disc senses it and it tells you that's not an available spot anymore. And I kind of did a little bit of research and found that there are companies that are still doing it. San Francisco seems to be the big place for that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've seen that. I've seen technology like that in garages and such, and not so much on streets. So that's interesting. Okay, I'd love to learn more about that.
Okay, thanks again.
Yeah, of course.
We'll see you.
Thank you, Margie.
Yeah, see you around.
Bye-bye.
Rick next, please, and then Tanya, and then Starlight, and then Susie.
Yeah, hi, good evening.
Hi.
Hey, is there any update on the priority boarding for residents and workers on the tram that can be picked up on Roosevelt Island? That's being discussed by the governor's office?
Yeah, I don't have any news on that front, and nothing new regarding, what RIAC's position has been on that, although I get why excessive wait times for people trying to get home, let alone to school, work, what have you, is certainly aggravating. I'll look into getting an update and I wrap my head around, what governs that. But I'll also say that, I want to make sure that we're doing whatever we can beyond that too, in terms of the equipment and the maintenance and the communication system and PSD protocols, at the station too. Like what are all the levers that we can push to improve? that experience. But I don't have any news for you, Rick, but I'll work on getting an update. I know it's important to a lot of people.
Right, thank you.
At this juncture, BJ, I want to make it clear that when we get this pass, we'd like to name it the Roosevelt Island Q Pass or the Rick Pass.
The Rick Pass?
Yeah, because Rick's the guy who thought of the idea of making it. So we want to be the Rick Pass, okay? You can write that one down.
I'm writing it down.
Because Rick thought of it, so we should get that. Anyway, thank you. Tanya, please.
Hi.
Hi, Tanya.
Hi, Tanya.
Hi, guys. Thank you for offering us an opportunity to ask you a question. Before moving to Roosevelt Island, I actually lived in Battery Park City with my husband
Oh,
and
wow.
enjoyed it a lot.
Good.
Thank you for transforming Battery Park City. It has always been a safe environment and great for kids as well. We moved to Roosevelt Island because we wanted to start a family. And this is to piggyback on the question that Mariana asked about playgrounds and space for babies and toddlers to make it age appropriate. I know that Susie, who's also on the call with us, she mentioned before that she tried to do it a couple of years ago, and unfortunately, either the funding was not secured. I guess I will let her tell the story if she can mention that. But many families that, in many cases, cannot be present during these calls have complained to me while being on the playground about the conditions of the Blackwell House playground, the one above
Yes.
at the
Yes.
fountain
Yes.
level and below. There is a floor that needs to be repaired.
Yes.
And on June 13th, I have submitted a ticket about the swings, if it's possible to install baby safe swings. I know that the request got approved, but I don't know what is the ETA,
Okay.
what is the next step. And if you need us to march the streets to secure the funding, we will be there with you. All of the moms with their strollers, especially if they're double decked. So just let us know. There's a huge WhatsApp moms group chat plus
Okay.
a chat. And if you tell us that you need something from us to show that the community have this need, we will be there right behind you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think what would be helpful is if you have or your group have some favorite examples of such playground equipment in other neighborhoods, Battery Park City or otherwise. You mentioned the swings, for example, but if you have some specific reference points that you think would be good for us to consider, you can share that with us through Paul or, with Brian, who's on the Zoom, and we can take a look at that. I think, yeah, again, I like this idea. It may, so just have to kind of look into what it will take to actually do it. But it makes all the sense in the world to me, especially when you have some underutilized play spaces over in, the Blackwell Park playground, for example. And like you said, that floor, we do have a project in the works to replace the flooring on one of the playgrounds over at Blackwell, I know. So that's in progress, but I think this is a great opportunity. So we'll dig into it and hopefully have more to report soon.
Thank you. And Paul, let me know if you want me to write an email or follow up, whatever you want me to do. I will definitely be your.
Why don't we do an email with what you'd like to see there, any examples of things attached. And Brian, if you could, how can we do this best? I'll put in the chat through Jordan. Brian, maybe you could send to Jordan in the chat your email address, and she can share that with folks. Brian, do you want to?
Thumbs up from Brian.
Great, thank you. Yes, if you don't mind, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next, thank you for that, Tanya. Starlight, please.
Hi, welcome
Thank you.
to Roosevelt Island. Glad to see your face here. We appreciate now having a president finally after all of the um, craziness that's been going on with the REOC board. But I simply wanted to welcome you, and also my questions that I asked were that I posted were also not answered, but I think they were because they were referring to the ZBRICS
Okay.
and also to PSD and the land leases as well. So the other people asked basically
Okay,
kind
we
of
got
the
to
same
them.
questions. They weren't mines were a little different, but what my other concern is the ZBRICS. Like that's a very unique feature here on Roosevelt Island, and I know that they're paving over some things, and I'm just trying to figure out if they're going to change all of them or paving over them, replacing them, getting rid of them permanently, and paving over everything with the black tar because it looks awful. And I'm
Mhm.
seeing that as you go up and down Main Street, is half of this and half of that, and it looks absolutely atrocious. So I'm just trying to find out when and or if there's going to be some kind of seamless, you know, look to what they're doing, and also regarding Eleanor's Pier as well. When is
Uh-huh.
that? That's been looking like that for over
Ever.
2 years now. Yeah, like 2+ years, and
Yeah.
it's a little insane. And regarding PSD, I find that they're never where they're needed at any given time. And I know that REOC is responsible for issuing and governing PSD,
Yes.
but most of the time when they're needed, they're never where they're supposed to be. Or I'm seeing a lot of them either talking to one another on their phones or talking to each other, or just kind of turn their backs turned, and finding myself having to call them because there are things going on the island that they're very unaware of because they're not anywhere to be found, regarding the stopping of the traffic, and people speeding and running races in the Southtown area,
Mm.
dragging, drag
Drag
racing
racing.
vehicles,
Uh-huh.
and
Starlight, let me cut you short
parking.
if I may, because we have a lot of
Yeah,
people still to speak as well. So you've made a
right.
few points here. Let's give our guest a chance to
Mhm.
respond to some of what you
Okay,
said.
great.
Yeah, thank you. So Seabricks, we'll do our best to communicate our plans for the roadway repair project as we prepare for that in the coming year. Eleanor's Pier, yeah, you're echoing what I've heard from other people, and my own desire to get that repair happening more quickly. Thank you for your feedback, but with PSD, I know Chief Brown takes community feedback seriously, and so I'll make sure they know about your experience here, and see what else we can do. Um, uh, and drag racing, I had not heard about the drag racing, so thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Starlight. Madeline, and then I think it's Lara. I hope I said it right, or Itzka. It's yeah, Madeline. Please.
Hi, thank you. I was just wondering if you could speak to any plans to further climate resilience on the island.
Yeah, so I think that's an area of opportunity for us to really take a closer look at in this next chapter. That's something that's always been important to me in my work. And so, there's a couple of ways that I look at it, and there's certainly the resilience aspect, the climate adaptation aspect, and thinking about what we need to do in the face of more and more severe weather as it relates to climate change, from protective measures we can put in place and emergency planning and what have you, and also just thinking about kind of long-term sustainability and looking on, how we can build on what's been happening here. The pocket forest is a great example of something that, there are some things that are happening here in the community that are pretty exciting on that front that I think we can leverage: composting, green roofs, solar, more environmental education. So I'm definitely interested in pursuing that more strategically and kind of planning for the next chapter of this neighborhood with sustainability top of mind.
Great. Thank you so much.
And then final speaker for now, Lara or Itzia?
Lara, I sent you a prompt to unmute.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, how are you? I'm sorry. This is Susie del Campo. I had to use my daughter's account because I ran out of battery on the other device.
That's okay. Go ahead, Susie.
Yes. So I'm going to be really fast. I don't know if you know that by law, resident island middle school students have to go to Manhattan for school. And even though the queue is useful, a lot of the kids have to go below 59th Street, and then the best option for them is a tram. So that's number one. Number two, MTA is changing the F40M starting in December, but MTA has announced that they're not going to increase the trains, increase the cars, or modify their schedule beyond rush hour in the morning. That train is extremely slow. It's the slowest of the Orange Line. So we are afraid that Roosevelt Island residents will have to wait half an hour in any of the given stations of the M to be able to come back home. That includes our middle students that go to middle school above 59th Street. So that's like the most important part. On the other part, I want to answer to the one that was saying about moms and strollers in the tram. Some moms have C-sections and they cannot carry the weight of their baby for several months. That hence we use strollers.
Yeah.
I understand that the etiquette mandates or wants to fold the strollers. Sometimes parents are not able to carry their baby safely standing up, plus holding a folded stroller, plus the diaper bag, and that's not safe for the baby or the toddler. I think that the etiquette must be that everybody with a stroller should keep their kids inside the stroller at all times, right? And on the other side, the playgrounds, BJ.
Yeah.
Tanya mentioned that I know a little bit about playgrounds. When they were constructing 480 Main Street, we have a marvelous toddler playground, a toddler playground for kids 5 and under, with some things that were like only for toddlers, right? They promised us that they will build a state-of-the-art toddler playground and extremely big. It came out that they couldn't because of the trees. Then they said that they didn't have the money, and we ended up with equipment that it's for kids 5 to 12. And by now, those labels have been ripped apart because that playground is exactly 12 years old. Because I was pregnant with my youngest, and she's turning 12 this November. So what did we did? We were bothering RIOC and the builder of 480. The builder did nothing, and RIOC had to come up with patches to make sure that the 8-feet openings of the slides were closed and safe for kids. But it's a 5 to 12 playground. About the swings.
Hey, Susie,
Yeah.
Susie, can I ask you to wrap it up soon, please? We're trying to give everyone a minute because we've got respect for other people's time as well, please. Anything else you want to add in?
So for the swings, pardon?
Just very quickly, please.
Yeah, and for the swings in Blackwell Park North that are supposed to be for 6 to 18, we have asked for 6 years to fix those swings because no one that is over 3 feet high can use those swings, and no one has fixed them. And I have asked Mary several times, parents have asked them several times as explicit operations, and no one has fixed them. So we don't have operating swings for babies and toddlers, and we don't have operating swings for any kid above 4 feet high or 3 feet high. So that wraps it all. Thank you so much. I hope that I did it really, really fast.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all of those
So BJ,
ideas.
it's coming up on time when you're going to leave us. So I want to say a big thank you for not only appearing today, but the way you've appeared has been such a breath of fresh air for, I'm sure, everybody here who's witnessed REOC presences before. It's night and day. The number of times you've said, I'll look into it, was it's a large number. So everyone here, I can speak for them without asking them all by saying thank you so much. Love to make this regular, maybe a couple of times a year. And thank you for coming and spending one of your first evenings with us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Sessions like these are very helpful. And you know, as much as I do want to be responsive, I will say that, you know, part of that is a reflection of the nature of your requests. There's been a lot of good ideas raised today that are worth exploring. So that makes it easier for me to say, I'll look into that.
Nice one. That'll be on motto. Get a park bench for you. I'll look into that. Yes.
But I will, and we'll look into these, and we'll figure out a way to you know, report out on these as we kind of figure out what the path forward is, or if there's something that makes it more complicated, you know, we'll share that too, of course, in the weeks and months to come. And, you know, if you have other ideas, you know, stop me if you see me, but also, I believe Brian shared his contact information. You know, you can always, we're always happy to receive feedback and ideas. So, you know, let's continue the conversation, and just I appreciate you know, as also, if you know, a little patience as I still learn my way around and how to make, you know, things happen, and patience for the team too, who are now going through a transition with me arriving. But I've been really pleased with my interactions with the community and the team here at REOC. And so looking forward to doing good things together.
Thank you. Hey, look, I'm going to squeeze one last question because I saw one hand went up quickly. Just a very quick one, please, Francis.
Francis.
Hang on, you're muted still.
Oh, you're on mute, Francis.
You have to unmute.
Sorry, I don't live on the island, but
you look like you do live on an island.
I did for a while. At any rate, my concern is that as the mayoral race comes along, no one is having a sincere conversation about the business aspect of running the city. The city is a $116 billion a year business. Next year, we're projecting a loss. The MTA is projecting a loss. I'm requesting that Board 8, the entire board, send a note to our comptroller to model some of the things that Mr. Mondamni is proposing. For example, free buses. And looking at the MTA report, they are losing a significant amount of money now with fare beaters.
So Francis, let me stop you a second. This all sound like great ideas, but the appropriate venue for that is the full board of CB8. This is just the Roosevelt Island Committee.
No, I understand that, but we're running out of time and getting close to it. So I'm asking that the board do this, and I'm using this as a way in. I didn't mean to be disrespectful.
No.
What you guys are doing.
This is not the right venue for you. You're not going to get what you want at this place because we
I know the budget meeting is next week, so I'll be in part of that. But if the board could send a note that says, please, Mr. Comptroller, we'd appreciate a financial analysis. I'll be a happy camper.
Sure. You have
I've
to ask
lived
the
through
board
the-
about not this meeting, but thank you very much.
Okay, well, you folks have contact with the entire board, so I don't mean to be argumentative, but I've lived through the Dinkins administration, and I lived through the Abe Beam administration, and they were not pleasant sights to be here in this city for lots of reasons, financial especially. Thank you very much. I don't mean to be raising this issue with a lot of emotion to it, more on the financial and pragmatism so that all the projects you guys are looking at can in fact get funded and done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Move on to our next item. So the next item, final item for the evening, it's about the implementation of the train switch of the F train for the M train. Very quickly, for the facts here, for those who don't know what's going on, Jordan either has or will put in the chat in a moment the MTA page describing it. But put at its simplest, from 6 o'clock in the morning till 9:30 at night, Monday through Friday, the F will swap over to where the M line runs, and vice versa. The M will swap with the F. I don't propose to get into detail of why and what. That's a question for the MTA, but that this is a proposal. This is due to be implemented on December the 8th or thereabouts. As far as I can tell from seeing lots of feedback from people on the island, people have different uses for the train. Different people use it different ways. Some people think this is a great idea because it's supposed to, if it works, get us on the train more quickly in the morning. Right now we have to wait for 2 or 3 trains to go through the station. And because the M train is supposed to arrive on weekdays much emptier, that should get us on our way quicker. Some people do not like the idea because they rely on going rapid through Queens. They don't want to be spending a lot longer going through local stops. Some people don't like it because it makes it harder to get to JFK, I think. I'm sure there are other things I haven't mentioned as well. What I'd like to do is get a quick sense from this group of people who largely are Roosevelt Island. If you could put your reacting hand up, so go to reaction and raise your hand. If you like the idea, if you're happy with the idea of the F train switching with the M train the way proposed by the MTA. So a quick show of hands, please, for that. So can you raise your electronic hands? So react and then raise. So people who want the switch. I see one hand so far. Nobody else wants to switch. Okay, if you could lower that hand, please, Tanya. Those against the switch. So a massive number of hands coming up quickly. So those who want this, basically this resolution, who favor this resolution, got it. So just for those of you who are new to this, the way this is going to work, we're going to have some discussion here. I don't propose we have to listen to every single person say the reasons they don't want this to happen, because it's pretty clear the vast majority of people favor it not happening. The way it's going to work is for the actual resolution, we'll have some commentary from the people who are members of the public first. Then the committee will meet together in front of everybody, and somebody, Sharon, will bring up the resolution. We'll vote on it and do committee stuff that way. But I'd like to give a couple of people a chance to talk first. Let's start off first with, I think, Tanya, you put your hand up that you wanted it. If you don't mind, if you'd be okay doing it, I'd love you to speak about why you would like this switch to go ahead, or anybody. So if your hand is up now, I'm assuming you want to speak about why you're in favor of the switch.
Guys, I can move my hand. I am not affected by the change. That's the whole premise. I think even my husband would raise a hand against it because he would be affected.
Got it.
I just don't know much about it.
Got it. I'll leave it there. Let's go to Starlight, to Susie, but I'm going to ask you each to make your comments 30 seconds each, please, if you can. We're going to have a lot of people tonight, maybe, but we don't need to go into lots of detail here because I think it's overwhelmingly against.
Okay, I'm against it for, just the reasons that you mentioned. Like, I mean, they're swapping it out, but it doesn't make sense because we're waiting for the train. So does that mean if they put the F, move the F and put the M, that the M is going to come more frequently? Or is it just going to come emptier? Because if that's the case, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Thank you very much, Starlight. Susie, and then Emily, I forget, sorry.
Thank you. As I said before, by law, our youth in Roosevelt Island has to go to Manhattan for middle school, and high schools are not in Roosevelt Island. But the M in particularly, it takes half an hour to come to any station on the line of the oranges. So our kids will be waiting in Lexington and 63rd over 30 minutes just to come back home from school, on top of the time it takes them to get to Lexington and 63rd. And then that's the whole reason why I don't want it, because that's the slowest of the lines.
Thank you very much. So let's move on to, I don't know what E stands for. Sorry, I forget. No, gone away. Thank you. No one else speaking. So let's come to committee. Oh, iPhone and E. So E's back. E. Grinberg.
Hi.
You
I
gotta
think that,
unmute me.
Hang on a
Sorry.
second, one at a time.
I can't talk if you don't unmute me. Sorry. Am I unmuted now?
Yes,
Okay.
you are. I can hear you.
Okay. Just very briefly, I would just say I'm more on the neutral side, and maybe I just thought maybe that might be a perspective, and I'm neutral because it seems like there are pros and cons, and why not give it a try? I am more confused about how they chose the schedule. That would be my comment. And it just seems like when there's things that benefit, different parties, it's kind of hard for me to come down on one side or the other.
Thank you. I see iPhone. Can you give us your name, please, iPhone?
Hi, my name is Natasha. I live in 560. I think that with the change coming, it looks like it'll be like a temporary, like a Band-Aid on a bigger issue, because it looks like it'll be quicker to get on and off the island. Like if it's more trains coming, and they're more, because in the morning during rush hour, it really is hard. Sometimes you cannot fit on a train, but it doesn't look like it's going to be really that much of a help, because you'll have to transfer back to the F at a later stop. So right now, the F line, even though it may be flawed, it is a really effective line from getting from A to B. It connects to a lot of places. Once you're on, it's really, really easy to get to where you have to get. It looks like the M train, you'll still have to transfer. So it's like it might not really save on your commute. You may be able to get off the island quicker, but you'll still have to transfer at 4750 or whatever stop. That's what it looks like to me.
Thank you so much. And Ellen Polovy, please. It says Howard Jordan. It says Howard Polovy on the front. Hang on a sec, Ellen. You're on mute. No, just still.
Sent you a prompt to unmute. You just have to click the button.
Okay, we're being efficient with one name. So I didn't hear all of that. I was on a different meeting for a while, but I do know that the M train would give us better access to Queens, which actually is something that we've been missing for a long time. The local train would get us lots of other places in Queens that we can't get to right now. And that would be my only suggestion of why.
Thank you very much. So
I'm going to the people that have children that have to get to school. I think that's an issue that is important.
Thank you, Ellen. So that'll wrap up the public commentary on this. So I'd like to turn it over to the committee. And before we do that, we're joined by my fellow board member, Craig Lader, who's co-chair of the Transportation Committee, who does know an awful lot about this as well. So Craig, I know you'd like to share some thoughts as well, please.
Great. Thank you, Paul. Good evening, everyone. So yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak. And again, I'm coming at this from the perspective of the transportation co-chair for the entirety of Community Board 8. So I know that I'm coming to this from a different perspective than a lot of the attendees and members of the Roosevelt Island Committee. So I guess here's where I am with this. So first, I want to just acknowledge, and I said this when the MTA presented at our Transportation Committee meeting last month, it is a confusing proposal, and I do think that it would be better in an ideal situation if the MTA were to introduce this change with full-time M service instead of the F during weekdays and M during weekdays and F during overnights and weekends. But they explain that because of the signal upgrade project that they are working on, that's going to take a while, that will not be able to be done anytime soon. And I think that's really important because it's indisputable that the F train has reliability and capacity issues. And yes, I know and want to acknowledge that the M train frequency will be slightly reduced compared to the F train. But will this result in much longer wait times? No, it really won't. And I think that in all likelihood, the improved reliability that should result from this change will likely improve wait times in some instances, as we've all experienced having to wait a long amount of time for F trains due to congestion and reliability issues due to downstream delays that occur. And just to be clear, no one is going to be losing any service to any station. It really won't even have any impact whatsoever to anyone that's heading Manhattan bound from Roosevelt Island. And clearly, no one is really going to be waiting 30 minutes between trains. And that's just a math equation. The schedules will and the MTA depicted a scenario in which the average wait time will be increased by about, I thought they said 1 to 2 minutes. And that makes sense based off of just the number of trains that they actually operate, because they do operate on a schedule, and you could actually go online and see what the schedules are like now and what the current headway is and how many trains per hour they have. And be able to compare that to the F train. And if you divide that by 60 minutes, you'll see that it really isn't a large difference. It's maybe a 1 or 2 train per hour difference, depending on the time of day. And if there were going to be such long waits, I would be the first person to be opposing this. So, as I said, I get that this is a Roosevelt Island focused resolution that's being proposed, but I'm thinking of it from the perspective of the broader constituency of our district. And I think overall, this is a net positive proposal. As Ellen said, this opens up new markets. It improves the overall system reliability and addresses the overcrowding issues that many of us, especially those who use the 63rd Street Lexington Avenue station, experience on a regular basis, where the F train can really be a disaster at times. It's really very often overcrowded, and the real world headways and frequencies are very inconsistent because of that overcrowding. I recognize and respect how much everyone values their time, and I'm sympathetic towards those who may see their commutes become a few minutes longer, but I think it's a mistake and short-sighted to oppose it with a resolution as a full board. I think a letter from the Roosevelt Island Committee would perhaps be more appropriate and would allow the legitimate concerns that some have raised tonight, and those who, as part of the Roosevelt Island Committee, may feel, if they are in opposition to this, that they'd be able to raise it in a way that doesn't necessarily present a conflict with the needs of others that are represented by the entirety of Community Board 8. And given that this is really something that's going to have impacts and hopefully benefits across the entire subway system, I really think that it's something that we should not be opposing. So thank you for allowing me to speak, Paul.
Thank you, Craig. So the only thing I'd ask you to take on board, Craig, speaking on behalf of those of us who live on the island, the idea that we should also be paying attention to how this will impact the rest of our board, the Upper East Side. It's a fair comment to make on face value. I think the distinction you're missing is that for every single person of the 12,000 people on this island, this is 100% important for every single person here. It's crucial day in, day out, getting to school, doctor's appointments, getting to work, everything. We're on an island here. The tram's a bit dodgy at times. The subway is very important to us. 90% of people, 80, 90%, I think, use the subway to get off the island. The distinction I'm making, Craig, when we come to talking to the full board, is that I don't believe this change is of paramount importance to anything more than a few percentage of people who live on the Upper East Side. I think it's way less important to them in their day-to-day lives, because there's so many more options they have for getting around, one of which, not least of which, is they're on the same island as anywhere else a lot of them are going to, which we're not. So I take your point about wanting to be doing the right thing by the whole community board, key CB8. I'd ask you to reflect on the fact of how dramatically this is important this is for every single person here, and it is nowhere near the case for those who live in the rest of our district. So I'd like to move this on now. Sorry, Suze, we're moving now on to the I guess your executive session. I wonder if anybody, Jimmy, you want to speak? Sorry, you're a board member.
I would just say that 15 years on this island, and the amount of trouble we've had with subway service on Roosevelt Island over the years at very inopportune moments is enough, like you said, to your point, traumatize everybody on the island. we are totally dependent on getting off the island. And not everybody has a vehicle. Not everybody rides a bike. Obviously, the tram is overwhelmed. And I've been saying for years, and my wife has disagreed with me and probably plugged her ears when I've said it. I would accept anything the MTA does if we were allowed to get off the island and back on for free. One stop for free, either 21st Street in Queens or 63rd and Lex in Manhattan. If we were allowed the luxury of walking to Central Park from our apartments on Roosevelt Island, Central Park, which is in our community district, and also not a very far walk from my apartment, if you want to know the truth. Clearly, I can't walk on water, and if you didn't know that, I'm telling you I can't. So I have to commute one way or the other, and none of the commutes are good, as all of my other islanders will attest to. So when the MTA muddles up how we get around, it's a very different game for islanders than it is for residents of Queens and residents of Manhattan. It just is. And as I've said over and over again, if I'm ever lucky enough to meet the board of the MTA, I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say, you give me free access one stop, then I will go along with whatever idea you have, because that means once that train comes and I land on 63rd and Lex, whether it takes me 30 minutes or 3 minutes or 13 minutes. I will tell you though, when they say everything will be fine, I'm going to put my money on 30 minutes. But anyway, I definitely do not support any
Thank you,
changes
Jimmy.
that the MTA says will benefit the city at large or us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. So Sharon, are you on? Do you want to propose your resolution? Is Sharon Polk Marshall with us? Yeah, hi
Yes,
Sharon.
can you hear me?
I can, yes. Over to you.
Okay.
There's no need to go into great detail, but why don't you propose your resolution, see if someone's going to second it?
Certainly. First, I would like to thank Craig for his comments. I really do appreciate the feedback as well as the concern overall. I think we need to have some context, though, and more specifically, that we often, as a board, overall, the full community board, we often take positions that certainly are supportive of an item or against an item. It's it really is the nature of being on the board, even though we represent the entire community. That's the first thing that I wanted to say. The second is I think that the NTA proposal overall is less about relieving
So
congestion.
Sharon, I think technically, if you wanted to speak to a resolution, I'm not very good at this stuff, but
Okay, good point.
you're
Thank you.
supposed to
Thank you for
propose and
jumping
someone,
in. I appreciate it.
yes.
So essentially, the resolution is, if you don't mind, if I just
We're
summarize.
just no,
Has
just the last bit.
has everyone seen the resolution?
One quick second, Sharon. So I'm going to ask Jordan first, if you wouldn't mind dropping the resolution into the chat. But Sharon, there's no need to read the whole thing out. Just
I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm not going to.
Really quick, I'm so sorry, Sharon. Do you want me to drop the whole resolution in the chat?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yeah, the one with the edits.
The one with Craig's edits, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So essentially, the resolution opposes the two-train option for Roosevelt Island. How's that for a summary?
Thank you. So let's do, anyone want to second that? Any board member want to second that? Digital hand up, please, board member, if you want to second that. So board members, I think present are Todd, Jimmy, Sharon, Amy, Craig. So I know Craig's not going to second it, I know that. Jimmy's going to second it. Thank you, Jimmy. So Sharon, there's no need to speak to it at any length at all. Just, read out the whereas at the end. Therefore be it
Yeah.
resolved.
Sure. Now therefore be it resolved, Manhattan Community Board 8 formally opposes the Metropolitan Transportation Authority's proposed weekday F and M subway line swap. And be it further resolved that we call upon the MTA to rescind its current plan and develop a revised proposal that equitably addresses the subway needs of Roosevelt Island residents.
Thank you so much, Sharon. So let me do a quick roll call, then I'm going to go down. Myself, I'll vote yes, in favor. Jimmy? Jimmy?
Yes.
Thank you. Amy? Is Amy here still?
Sure, if Amy's on anymore.
Okay, no worries. Todd?
Todd, I sent a prompt to unmute.
I'm trying. I don't know why I keep getting put
Okay.
off camera,
Okay.
but I was waving and everything.
So
Yes.
yes, thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I am. Is my camera going off or
You're
you,
okay.
Jordan?
You're okay, but let's move on now. Sorry, Todd. Sharon?
Yes.
Thank you. Craig? Craig? No.
Sorry.
I counted
No.
1, 2, 3, 4 to 1. Did I miss anybody else as a board member?
Well, I see online currently, I believe.
I think I got it right, 4 to 1. So that resolution passes. So that'll be going to the full board on October the 22nd. Sharon, you'll lead the charge at the public staff whenever you want to, I guess, when the appropriate time is, and we'll be there to support it. So thank you, everyone. There was one more person wanted to talk about something for new business before we wrap up. Is that person still here? I forget who it was. No, they're gone.
I don't think so.
So everyone, thank you for spending so long this evening. It's been a very informative meeting, and I wish you all a pleasant rest of your evening and a great week. Bye, everyone.
Have a good night.